Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Maroon Devils Network as we get ready for playoff week number 2 in football. But before we start talking football with our head coach, Sherman Holt, we're going to be talking about a very special group that brought home another state championship to Swain County High School, and that's our cross-country team. With us here is Amaya Hicks. Amaya, tell us about that. Tell us the feeling you had as an individual and how your team felt winning that cross-country championship this past weekend.
Pretty amazing. It was back-to-back. Our top 3 runners, Annie Lewis and Gracie and myself, placed 2nd, 3rd, and 10th, so we made the all-state team. This is the strongest cross-country team that we've ever had come through Swain. Just pretty good knowing that we were that strong.
Oh, outstanding group, and I understand in talking with you before we came on to do this interview that, of course, you won it last year. I think the spring and the indoor, and now you're on track to maybe do that again. That's going to put you in a place that nobody has ever been, from what I can understand. Mm-hmm. So tell us how that works with the spring and the fall, and for those not familiar with cross country, how that kind of plays out.
So in the wintertime, we'll go compete against not only 1A but 2A, and then we'll go to outdoor, and that'll just be 1A, but we're hoping to win those again and get our 2nd Triple Crown.
Wow. Well, that's tell us your thoughts when you were actually involved in the race, as you were pushing hard. As you mentioned, you were right there in the number 2 spot. Tell us your thoughts as you were actually running in the race this past weekend.
Most of us started out a little behind from where we wanted to be. I was 5th, 6th most of the race, but I just had to tell myself, like, you're ranked 2nd. You have to place that, not only for myself but for my team.
Yeah. Now, how special is this for the entire team? Maybe some folks who weren't able to place this high. How does this make the entire team feel? Maybe on the bus ride back when you were celebrating and having a good time. What was the feeling between you and your teammates?
Pretty good. We've all worked really, really hard this season, not only our top 3 runners, but our whole entire team. I think that's something that we've tried to emphasize this season is our 6th and our 7th and our 8th runners. Those runners are just as important as our 1st and our 2nd runners.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit, Amaya, if you will, the work you put in during the week and maybe even on the weekend. I know as a runner, you could probably put in some miles on the weekend as well, because, you look at some of the sports like, for example, football or basketball, and the practice schedule is pretty much laid out. Tell us your practice schedule and how the team works getting ready for these kind of competitions.
In the beginning of our season, it's mostly just lots and lots of miles that we're getting in. But once you get closer to conference and regionals and state, it's more speed work. Just really focusing on your nutrition. Your sleep is really important. Most of us run 6 out of 7 days of the week. Wow. And you just have to focus on all of that altogether.
Oh, I can imagine. Tell us how much your coaches really work with you and maybe push you to be your best to compete at this level.
Really hard. I mean, that's something that Coach Payne, if it wasn't for his workouts and for him training us, one of the things that, he's told us this season is, no matter if we win or lose, we're never going to get outworked. And I think that's something that we've all really taken into play this year.
Yeah. Well, we just want to say congratulations. I know the entire county and the entire student body at Swain County High School is so proud of you and your teammates. And this is something I'm sure you'll never forget, is being a state champion. And, hey, good luck as the competition continues the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right. Amaya Hicks, ladies and gentlemen, part of our state championship cross-country team. We're so proud of these young ladies and wishing them the best as we go forward. Stick around. We're going to be talking with Coach Holt, and we've got kickoff coming up just a little bit later as well here on the Maroon Devils Network.
Hello, viewers. My name is Audrey Zelinka, and I'm one of your student correspondents with the Maroon Devils Network. This channel was created in 2014, and since then we've had over 430,000 views, but more than 75% of those have been non-subscribers. Right now, our channel has a little over 2,400 subscribers, but we want to reach a goal of 5,000. To help us do this, you can like, subscribe, and share our videos. Thank you for watching the Maroon Devils Network.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's week number 2 of the State 1A playoffs. Our Maroon Devils coming up with a big win over Winston Salem Prep, who is right now prepping for basketball as we get ready to take on the Thomasville Bulldogs here in week number 2. Coach, 26-8 win. As we look back, we really, I think, played a good ball game. Had a good game plan because just about everything they tried to do, we seemed to have an answer for. So it was just a good, solid win from start to finish last week.
Yeah, it was. Our kids played real hard, and, you know, the one thing we told our kids all week was the physicality of the game needed to go in our favor. And, you know, we practiced pretty hard Monday and Tuesday, and then kind of come off of them a little bit on Wednesday and Thursday. But our kids, they knew that they had to be physical. They knew they had to play sound. And biggest thing for us was getting their offense off the field and keeping the ball, having a lot of ball control. And we did that better in the second half. You know, if I said we had to do one thing a little better, is just take care of the turnovers, clean that up a little bit, and pretty much played a pretty good ball game other than that.
Oh, yeah. Coach, talk about our defense because they obviously had more speed than we've seen all year. Number 3, Arion, was one of the best athletes we've seen all year. He was not only fast, but he was big and could do a lot of things. Their quarterback was really small, but he was very shifty, very elusive. We did a good job overall of containing their athleticism.
Yeah, we told them, you know, on Monday that we had to do a real good job of limiting the big play. And I think Friday, they had 4 plays over 15 yards. And so we done a real good job of that. You know, one play led to their only touchdown. It was about a 40-yard play where we probably should have tackled him, but we just missed in space. And so, you know, that was our big emphasis, was tackling in space and just getting them to the ground. And we done a real good job of that. Other than about 3 or 4 times all night, we made them work and fight for what they had to get. And so I was proud of that. And, you know, our kids, they just they responded real well to the challenge of being at home in front of our fans. You know, we hadn't ever lost a home playoff game in the first round, and so our kids took that challenge very well, and they didn't want to be the first group that you know, changed that record. So proud of our kids' effort and the way they made Winston-Salem kind of get uncomfortable. They done some things that we hadn't seen them do on film, and so it was good overall effort by our kids Friday.
You know, Coach, talk about our defensive ends. I know Nathan Bogdanovich. I have to say that for him because he was so fun to work with this year. And we just really did a good job with our defensive ends, our linebackers, even our secondary people, forcing them to the sideline because you'd see them time after time trying to get to that corner and try to break that big play, but we forced them to that sideline pretty well.
Yeah, you know, defensively in our tackling drills last week, we put a big emphasis on stretching it out, trying to elongate those runs to the sideline laterally, and using the sideline as a 12th defender. And so we did a good job of that, and we really did real good in coverage because their quarterback had to pull it down a lot and just try to run. And he had a little bit of success early, you know, just extending some plays, and then we finally got to him and started hitting him a little bit and, you know, making him, you know, second guess, do I want to pull this thing down and run it or do I just want to get rid of it? And so that was good by our kids, just being physical and tackling well and being smart football-wise of forcing them to the sideline.
Yeah. Coach, offensively, we did a nice job, obviously, putting up 26 points. And, you know, Reese played a good ball game. Josh Collins played a good ball game. Josiah Glaspie. Joe is just such an asset on offense. So we really had a good job. Our offensive line, I thought, played a good ball game. So some really good things to talk about on that side of the ball.
Yeah, offensively, you know, we did what we wanted to do. We controlled the ball, had some long drives. Other than the turnovers, I already mentioned that was kind of the only thing offensively that we can really harp on this week in film and practice because, Josh had a real big game for us. I think he was 17 carries for like 125 or something like that and a touchdown or two. And, he does a real good job for us. We line him up at a lot of different places. He throws the ball, he catches the ball, he runs the ball, he blocks for us, and done real good at that. We kind of put in a little heavy package with him at quarterback, Wildcat, and we put Blake Sane in, blocking for him. Blake done a real good job, played a lot of offense for us this week. And, Blake, the last couple of games, has played more offensively for us. And I think moving forward, that's going to be something that we kind of stick to. And it gives some of our guys a break offensively. Blake coming in and playing that fullback position and blocking. And, we didn't run a whole lot of fullback stuff, but he done a real good job blocking. And, Josh done a good job running the ball, and our up front guys, they blocked. And, at one time we had 6 linemen on the field, 2 tight ends, and a fullback. And we basically said, here we come, stop us. And our kids done a real good job. First drive out of the half, I think we had it for 7 minutes on that first drive, ended up with a touchdown. And that's going to be real big for us this week, And, Reese, he done a real good job for us just, managing the game. We've kind of put a lot of pressure on him. Anytime you play quarterback, it's always tough. Yeah. That's the toughest job on the field. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. We ask him to do a lot of things, and he played real well Friday. I know some people might say, we turned the ball over a lot, but one of those turnovers was not his fault in the passing game. But we just continue to get better. Reese, he's done a real good job for us all year, and he is he's just a leader and a fierce competitor, and I think his mentality comes off to our team, to make them be competitors. And you mentioned Josh and Reese and Joe; those guys are real big for us offensively, just big playability. The offensive line, they played great up front. It don't matter who you got in the backfield. If those 5 or 6 guys don't do their job, it's going to be a tough night. Yeah. And so they done good just staying on blocks. And, we didn't have no huge running plays like we've had the last couple of weeks, but we were just 5 and 6 yards at a time and just kind of wore them down, I think, in the second half. And that'll be big for us this week, keeping the ball and wearing those guys down a little bit and just being able to sustain drives.
Yeah. Coach, talking about special teams, that third element of football, obviously some people don't, I guess, look at it, look at the big picture, but it's so important with a team like Winston Salem Prep and probably Thomasville as well. We don't want to kick the ball to their really fast guys who can break one and bring it all the way back to the house, do we?
Yeah, we've kind of had to, come up with a plan on how do we kick, and do we punt to them or do we try to punt it out of bounds, kick it out of bounds. And the one thing I'll say, Oliver Reyes has done a real good job the last 3 or 4 weeks in the absence of our starting kicker, Brendan Lannon. And, Oliver, he's not kicked very much, and, it's real new to him. And he's understanding the importance of just being consistent. And, we do a lot of placement on our kickoffs, and, we don't want to kick it right to them. And we want to get a lot of height on the ball so it gives our guys time to get down the field. And, he's done a real good job for us just in the absence of Brendan. Most people, if you lose your kicker, you go for 2, and we've not had to do that. He's done a pretty good job of kicking PATs, and, we feel comfortable kicking field goals if we get inside the 15. And so, I know we haven't done that this year, but we haven't been in those situations yet. We work on it in practice. But, special teams is just real big because that is a part of the game that can swing the momentum. Probably the biggest than any other phase, because you're always expecting a big touchdown on offense or, the big third or fourth down stop on defense. But when you can block a kick or you can get a return for a touchdown, that's just so much momentum, and we just want to limit our opponents of getting that momentum. And so we've done pretty good in the recent weeks of not allowing big plays in the special teams game. And our kids, we work on it a lot in practice, and so we feel like we've done well. I know some people might think, well, you give them the ball at the 45 if you kick it out of bounds. And I'm like, well, at least we got it at the 45 and not in the end zone. So, that's part of the strategy thing that you got to, what do we do to limit their big plays? Because, especially a team like Thomasville this week, they ran one back last week, 90-yard touchdown return. That was a big momentum shift for them in a game that was close at that point, and that kind of blew it open. And so just got to be careful in the special teams game. But we'll be prepared, and our kids really take pride in that, doing their job, doing their 1/11th in a phase of the game that sometimes don't always get a whole lot of attention.
You're right. Coach, talking about Thomasville, our second-round opponent, as we're going to be on the road down at their place this Friday night. Of course, Thomasville, a lot like the Maroon Devils in that they have outstanding tradition. 7 state championships that they have won, many of those in the 2A division. I was looking back in 2004, 5, and 6. They won 3 in a row. They had a special player, Quan Worley, who was a 2-time Associated Press North Carolina Player of the Year, and that's a rare thing, doing it twice, but he had like over 8,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns, and they won 3 in a row, which is also extremely hard. So that tradition, a lot like ours. So we're going to see tradition head-to-head with tradition this Friday, aren't we, with both teams?
Yeah, I don't think Swain County's ever played Thomasville in the playoffs. I would have to look, but I don't think we have. And 2 programs that are rich in tradition. They've won a lot of state championships, and the thing I'll say is they're coached very well. You turn on film and you watch their kids; they're very disciplined, and so it's going to be a tough task for our guys. That's a pretty good long trip. Down below Greensboro, and we watch film, and you see they've got a few guys that can run, and just they kind of got a 1-2 punch with their running backs. Both of them are 1,000-yard rushers, and so they like to run the football. I think they pass it less than us, if you can imagine that. But it's one of those things where it's going to be a wheel of, the will to win on Friday, of course, and then what team makes the fewest mistakes, right, probably has the least amount of penalties, probably going to win this game. And that's going to be our biggest focus this week to our kids today at practice. When we watch film and give them the game plan, is be disciplined, execute at a high level, and, which team probably makes the fewest mistakes.
Yeah. Coach, it'd be obviously great to have our 12th man down at Thomasville, being on the road. Of course, I'm sure they're going to have a great crowd like we always do here at Swain County Memorial Stadium. So we'd love to see a lot of people on the road this Friday, because that could really mean the difference, especially when you've got a tough physical game like we expect this one to be.
Yeah, hopefully the Maroon Devil faithful will take about a 3.5-hour trip down the mountain and cheer these boys on. And I know it really helps our kids when we have a big fan base and they get loud and they get behind them. And, it's about the kids, and how can we as adults or fans, encourage them and, try to build them up. And that's the biggest thing for us, is we've had real good support at our games this year, both home and away. And, wouldn't think nothing else that there's going to be a bunch of maroon and white in Thomasville Friday night.
No doubt. Fans, stay tuned. We have kickoff coming up soon. Our Maroon Devils, week number 2 here in the state playoffs on the Maroon Devils Network.